Hello, welcome to Holy Humor. I think this is segment 4 now. So let's begin. One Sunday morning, the Lutheran pastor noticed Oli standing in the foyer of the church, staring up at a large plaque. It was covered with names and small American flags mounted on either side of it. And I remember there's a lot of churches that have those kinds of plaques. The old Norwegian had been staring at the plaque for some time. So the pastor walked up, stood beside Oli and said quietly, "Good morning, Oli." "Good morning, Pastor," he replied, and he focused on the plaque. "Pastor, what is this?" And the pastor said, "Well, it's a memorial to all the men and women who died in the service." Soberly, they just stood together, staring at the large plaque. Finally, Oli's voice, barely audible and trembling with fear, asked, "Pastor, which service? At 8:30 or 10:45? Okay, all right. I have a dear friend in Kirkhoven who would be giving me these one-liners, and here's a couple of them. "If it gets really tough, take a nap." That's what he would say. And then he would say also, "Never put off till tomorrow what you don't have to do at all." You think it's going one way and all of a sudden it veers. Thank you, Denny. All right. Here's some eye-opening experiences. I ran across a fascinating list that carried this intriguing title, "Great Truths About Life That Little Children Have Learned." Let me share a few of these great truths with you. Number 1, no matter how hard you try, you cannot baptize a cat. Number 2, when your mom is mad at your dad, don't let her brush your hair. Number 3, never ask your 3-year-old brother to hold a tomato or an egg. Number 4, you can't trust dogs to wash your food for you. Number 5, don't sneeze when somebody is cutting your hair. Number 6, school lunches stick to the wall. Now, I'd never know what that would be like because I ate school lunches all the time when I was a teacher. Number 7, you can't hide a piece of broccoli in a glass of milk. Number 8, never wear polka dot underwear under white shorts, no matter how cute the underwear is. Now, it's virtually certain that the children learned these great truths and came to these bold new insights after some dramatic, eye-opening experience in their own personal lives. Can't you just see in your mind's eye some children trying to baptize a cat and learning full well from that experience that this is just not a good thing to do? If you watch America's Home Videos, my goodness, there are an awful lot of stupid people doing stupid things. But the point is clear. A dramatic, personal, eye-opening experience can give us new insight, new perception, and new vision. Now, I ponder, I reflect in pictures. I see scenes, and I put myself in those scenes sometimes, and I find that helps me relate to something, maybe the gospel story, for instance. So, poor Oli. Oli has a cat, and this cat lives in Kirkhoven along with Oli and Lena, and the cat sits on the front step, all day. And one day, Oli decides he's had enough of the cat. So he puts the cat in the car, drives to Pennock, about 10 miles away from home, and drops the cat off. When Oli gets home, his jaw drops open. What do you think? There is the cat sitting on the front step. So Oli picks up the cat and throws it back in the car. This time, Oli decides to go to Wilmer, about 20 miles away from home, and drops the cat off. When Oli gets home, he just about needs a change in underwear, because there is the cat sitting on the front step. A bright light goes off in Ole's head. This time, he goes all the way to Sunburg, way out on some country road, and drops the cat off. So Ole picks up the cat, throws it back into the car. He drives north to Sunburg further, takes it off on a gravel road, goes a few miles one way, a few miles another way, turns and goes several more, makes another turn, keeps doing this many times till he puts on about 40 miles and drops the cat off. Then Ole begins to drive home. And after several hours of driving, he has no idea where he is. Fortunately for modern technology, Ole uses his cell phone to call Lena. Lena, hello, is that you? Ole, yeah, this is me. Say, is the cat home? Lena, just a minute, I'll check. Yeah, he's sitting on the front step. Ole, well, do you want to put him on the phone? I'm lost and I need to find him and ask for directions. That's, I know, so long a joke and terrible. But it's Ole and Lena and the cat. Okay, I think I used this in a funeral sermon, a funeral illustration one day. After digging to a depth of 10 feet last year outside Buffalo, New York, scientists found traces of copper cable dating back 100 years. They came to the conclusion that their ancestors already had a telephone network more than 100 years ago. Not to be outdone by New Yorkers, in the weeks that followed, a Los Angeles, California archaeologist, he dug to a depth of 20 feet, somewhere just outside Oceanside. And shortly afterward, a story in the LA Times read, California archaeologists reporting a finding of 200-year-old copper cable have concluded that their ancestors already had an advanced high-tech communications network 100 years earlier than in New York. 1 week later, now don't shake your heads about this, 1 week later, a local newspaper in Minneapolis, Minnesota reported, after digging 30 feet deep in his pasture near the community of Wilmer, Minnesota, Ole Olson, a heck of an engineer and a self-taught archaeologist, reported that he found absolutely nothing. Ole has therefore concluded that 300 years ago, Minnesota had already gone wireless. Just makes a person proud to be from Minnesota. Okay, all right. Now, a couple more of Ole and Lena. The train ride, it's called. Ole and Lars were on their very first train ride heading to Minneapolis. Now, these could be two Norwegian bachelors. They had brought along bananas for lunch. Just as they began to peel them, the train entered a long, dark tunnel. Have you eaten your banana yet? Ole asked excitedly. No, replied Lars. Well, don't touch it then, Ole says. I just took one bite and went blind. Okay, here's a story about the optometrist. Ole was having eye trouble, so he went to see the optometrist to take care of his blindness, I suppose. No. Put this little gadget over your left eye, Ole said, the optometrist. Now, over the right eye. Over the left eye. No, Ole, I said left eye. Now right. No, Ole, your right eye. Completely confused, Ole just looked at the optometrist. Now, Ole, the optometrist continued, just remember, which is your left hand? Okay, Ole, cover your right eye. No, Ole, that's your left eye. Finally, in exasperation, the optometrist took a brown paper bag, cut a hole in it, put it over Ole's head, and moved the hole back and forth from the left eye to the right eye. Now, Ole asked the optometrist, how is that? Well, Doc, I guess that's all right, said Ole. But I was wishing I could have some wire rims like Sven. Oh, terrible. So, one last yoke. A new business was opening, and one of the owner's friends wanted to send him flowers for the occasion. They arrived at the new business site, and the owner read the card, "Rest in peace." The friend was angry and called the florist to complain. After he had told the florist of the obvious mistake and how angry he was, the florist replied, "Well, sir, I'm really sorry for the mistake, but rather than getting angry, you should imagine this. Somewhere there is a funeral taking place today, and they have flowers with a note saying, 'Congratulations on your new location.'" Okay, so have a great day, and may God always put a smile on your face.